Two-Faced Geithner assures CFR puppet masters he's opened the global currency. This is by Paul Joseph Watson of PrisonPlanet.com, Thursday, March 26, 2009. In a near complete reversal of his comments Tuesday when he told a congressional hearing that there was no plans to move towards a global currency to supplant the dollar, Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner sought to please the elitist Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR, by assuring them that he was open to the notion of a new global currency system. Geithner's two-faced reversal is another shining example of how much contempt the Obama administration frontmen have for the American people, assuring them one day that the dollar will remain, while the next pandering to their globalist puppet masters at the CFR as a move towards a global monetary union accelerates. As we reported yesterday, Obama, Geithner, and Bernanke on Tuesday publicly defended the dollar and denounced proposals by China and Russia to supplant the greenback with a new global currency. And yet the very policies of the Obama administration, the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, are creating the perfect storm for the dollar's death and its replacement with a new international reserve currency. Would you categorically renounce the United States moving away from the dollar and going to a global currency as suggested by China, a lawmaker asked Treasury Secretary Geithner on Tuesday. Geithner immediately responded, "I would." However, just a day later, Geithner told the CFR in a speech that he was open to the Chinese proposal to replace the dollar with a new international reserve system. In response, the dollar fell 1.3% against the euro, as headlines said. Geithner opened to SDR currency flashed across traders' screens, reported by the Financial Times. I haven't read the governor's proposal. He's a very thoughtful, very careful, distinguished central banker. I generally find him sensible on every issue, said Geithner, before adding, "We're actually quite open to that suggestion. You should see it as rather evolutionary, rather building on the current architecture than moving us to a global monetary union." However, any move away from the dollar and towards an international reserve system, including the use of special drawing rights, a synthetic multinational currency maintained by the International Monetary Fund, cannot be defined as anything other than a move towards a global monetary union. The continued use of the dollar as a reserve currency, he added, depends on how effective we are in the United States at getting our fiscal system back to the point where people judge it as sustainable over time. Well, by that standard then, the dollar is a dead duck. In addition, the White House economic advisor, Austin Goolsbee, refused to rule out the introduction of a global currency in an interview with CNN's Wolf Blitzer earlier this week. Treasury Secretary Geithner has played a leading role in the wholesale looting of the greenback, announcing this week that the printing presses will be cranked to the tune of at least another $1 trillion to buy more toxic assets from the sagging balance sheets of falling institutions, again, all at the expense of the taxpayer, who will pay for it with rampant tax hikes and runaway inflation on fuel, food, later down the road. Geithner's double dealings are nothing less than traitorous. While publicly downplaying the demise of the dollar and birth of a global currency, his every action is greasing the skids for the very scenario to unfold. In the meantime, he's careful to assure the anti-American Council on Foreign Relations, who have vehemently lobbied for a global currency, that the agenda for a world monetary union, a key cog in the pursuit of a world government, is right on track.
So here we saw Geithner telling the American people, no, we're going to stay with the dollar's stable. Then behind our back to his lords, the CFR, telling them that they would welcome a world currency, which once again this week we have a report China was calling for. Let's play a clip for you of Alan Greenspan. Since he left the Federal Reserve, Greenspan admits the Federal Reserve is above the law and answers to no one. This is very short. Alan Greenspan.
Is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between the chairman of the Fed and the president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an agency, and that means basically that So long as that is in place and there is no evidence that the administration or anybody else is requesting that we do things other than what we think is the appropriate thing, then the relationships don't frankly matter. And I've had very good relationships with the presidents.
I know.
Okay, Alan Greenspan, they're admitting that the Federal Reserve is above the government. It answers to no one, and we've tried to report this as much as we can throughout the time we've been on the air. I want to mention here Obama's corrupt administration, and if you've not heard this, please check into this for yourself, because Wall Street has hijacked Washington, D.C. Secretary Treasury Tim Geithner, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Bilderberg Group, CFR, married Bill Clinton, Trilateral Commission. Ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, Trilateral Commission. National Security Advisor, General James L. Jones, Bilderberg Group, CFR, Trilateral Commission. Deputy National Security Advisor, Thomas Donilon, CFR. State Department Special Envoy Henry Kissinger, Bilderberg, CFR, Trilateral Commission. Chairman of the Economic Recovery Committee, Paul Volcker, Bilderberg, CFR, Trilateral Commission. Director of National Security, Admiral Dennis C. Blair, Bilderberg, CFR, Trilateral Commission. Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates, Bilderberg Group, CFR, Trilateral Commission. Deputy Secretary of State, James Steinberg, Bilderberg, CFR, Trilateral Commission. State Department Special Envoy, Richard M. Haas, Bilderberg, Trilateral Commission, President of the CFR. Presidential Advisor, Alan Greenspan, Bilderberg, CFR, Trilateral Commission. And State Department Special Envoy, Richard C. Holbrooke, Bilderberg, Trilateral Commission, CFR. Brian, do you see a trend here?
I'm not exactly sure there. I mean, it wasn't obvious.
The whole administration made up of these societies that meet, doesn't report to the American people, and are moving forward their globalist agenda.
So we saw the entire Obama administration last June in Chantilly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in response to the potential for a global currency, we have yesterday, Congresswoman introduces bill to ban global currency. Of course, you're not going to see this in mainstream media. In the wake of discussions of and hints at a move towards a new global currency, a Republican Congresswoman has introduced a resolution in the House that would bar the dollar from being replaced by any foreign currency. Minnesota Republican Michelle Bachmann announced the resolution on her website along with a press release and Man's Truth. Will Obama administration abandon dollar for a multinational currency? The press release states, yesterday, during a Financial Services Committee hearing, I asked Secretary Geithner if he would denounce efforts to move towards a global currency. He answered unequivocally that he would, said Bachmann, and President Obama gave the nation the same assurances. But just a day later, Secretary Geithner has left the option on the table. I want to know which it is. The American people deserve to know. And again, this was Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann. You can go to her website and read about this because you're not going to hear about it on CNN.
Well, this legislation sounds good, but don't you think the move it'll be mute eventually?
Well, just like Ron Paul's legislation to abolish the Federal Reserve.
Or audit the Fort Knox.
Yeah.
You know. So we are coming up on a break. Then we'll be in our last part of the hour before the next hour. We will have Dr. Carly. I think you will enjoy that. Again, our website's therealnewsradio.com, and we will be back on the Real News after the break. All right, we are back on the Real News, and again, our website's therealnewsradio.com. Any of the clips that we play are located on our website. Sometimes we don't play them in their entirety. If you like